morning. My name is Joe Cashwell with Rotorcraft Pro Solutions. We finally did it. This is a 12S rack. So if you're at a college and you have an engineering department or you have charging needs inside of an occupied building to where if there was ever an incident with a LiPo, it would be a safety hazard, this solves that problem. Let me show you how this thing works. So we have Cerakote drawers that house your LiPos, and you have bays that have air gap dividers in between them and a silicone seal that's up on top of it. What we want to be able to do is put in 4 LiPos, charge LiPos, and if you ever had an incident on a LiPo, we want to contain it to that chamber. So here we have a 10,000 milliamp 12S LiPo, and this has the Molex connector and the AS150U. So you would place the LiPo in the drawer, and using your pigtail, you would plug in the AS150U, observe polarity, and then we have these little adapters. If you have the male Molex connector on one end, and then your extension cord has the male Molex connector on one end, you would plug these together and that would give you a junction to be able to put the LiPo in here. Now, with the same thing, we have a 6S 25,000 high voltage. This is capable of charging this also. We have adapters that go from the Molex connectors to the JSTXH, and you could do anywhere from 2S all the way up to 12S with this. And this will also accommodate the larger LiPos that are in the hard packs. Same thing, you would put the LiPo in the cage, connect it, and then you roll the LiPo to its side. And this gives you everything tucked into the drawer. When you shut the lid, everything is divided now. So if you had an incident with one of these LiPos, we're trying to contain it into one bay here, and we don't want it to spread to your other LiPos. When you shut the drawer, it locks shut. So if you did have an incident with a LiPo and it expels gas extremely fast, we don't want the drawer coming back open. We have fans in the back of the drawers, and what that does is that keeps air going through the drawer bays, so while the LiPo's charging, they don't get hot. We want to keep them as cool as possible. Also, when you open the drawers, they lock open. That way, when you're trying to put a LiPo in and take a LiPo out and make connections and deconnect everything, that the drawer isn't trying to run away from you, because that can be an issue. So with the rack charging solution, what we've done is given you individual bays to be able to park the LiPos while you're charging them or discharging them. This also has 12S, between 2 and 12S discharge capability. So if we didn't have the pigtail to make the connections here, you'd be plugging directly into the drawer. And we want to avoid that, because after 1,000 cycles here, you're taking the drawer apart to be able to replace this connector. We don't want our end user having to do that. So you use this cable. Once this cable starts having issues, you unplug it, you throw it away, we send you another one, you're ready to go for another 1,000 cycles. Because this has only been plugged in once, you're getting 1,000 cycles out of this end. We have clients that can desolder this and put another AS150U on it, no problem. But this connector has only been plugged in one time now. So that gives a long extended life to the rack. Now, if you're doing a standard LiPo, this one has an XT90 and a JSTXH connector. So what we want to be able to do is have adapters that go from XT90 to XT90 for the same reason. We want this connector to get the wear, because this connector will last a lifetime of the LiPo. When the LiPo goes bad, you dispose of it, this connector is going with it. This connector, which if we made an adapter for this one, would be the XT90, this connector is getting the wear also. About the time that the LiPo goes away, you need to start paying attention to how many cycles you have on this. We also have adapters that go from the Molex to the JSTXH, and we can make those from 2 to 12S also. So you have wide combinations of being able to charge. Now this is why the drawers are so big. These packs, a lot of people use these packs. These are hefty packs. Once again, AS150U and the Molex connector. So all we have is adapters that go from Molex to Molex, and you can order these in any quantity and we hand make them for your order, whichever variant that you want, and we get them shipped out to you. There's your connection. So you can use multiple different batteries, multiple different chemistries, each one per bay, different cell counts. You're going to be able to charge with this rack 12 LiPos at a time. These racks over here are 16 LiPos at a time, but these are for 6S, from 2 to 6S. So these drawers are much smaller. It was easier for us to get these. Once you shut the door, you got the gaskets attaching to the door. You lock these shut. Now you're ready for a charge cycle. Now, the surprise. This is a blank plate. This is a blank plate. So now we have made this in a 12S design that we can do 16 channels just like our Gen 2 design. So that was a lot of work. Scott and I lost so much sleep over this. A lot of meetings, a lot of talking, and we figured out how to get the 4th blade in. If you've noticed, we compressed these down a little bit. It made us put booster fans in there because we have a little bit more heat to contend with discharging. And because of a smaller area, a little more heat built up. So we went from a 3.5 to a 3, and it doesn't sound like much, but this gave us 2 inches. Now I know the Gen 3 and the Gen 2 look pretty much identical except for the size of things. The Gen 2, this one is the evacuation option built into this one. So what we have is when you start the rack, everything runs. You can do your charging, your discharging, everything that you need to do inside this rack. If there's ever an incident, and if you notice, these lids lock to where the lids on those ones just lay down. If there's ever an incident in this one, we have IR flame sensors inside here. And what that does is that triggers a contactor with a latching relay. First thing it does is shut down power to the entire rack except for one small power supply that runs the fans in the rack. The UPS runs an external fan outside of the building. So even if there was a power outage while you had an incident, which is very minimal, but this is what our client requested and this is what we give our client. So then the evacuation fan outside comes on. You still have the fans inside the drawer that typically move air just to keep the LiPos cool while they're charging or discharging. all of that part keeps running. Now, one of the options that we added in the middle of the build, we came back and rebuilt a couple pieces, is a manual trigger. And what that does is if there's an incident where LiPo has not started to produce a flame, it's just letting smoke out, you hit this one or this one, and it shuts the entire rack down, turns on the evacuation system. So we want to eject, we want that gas to be outside. We don't want it to be inside of an occupied building. Now, Rotorcraft Pro Solutions has always had #1 rule. If it fits and the customer requests it, we're gonna make it work. Just like our charge cases, just like our portable systems, this is fully customizable. So give us a call, give us an email. I'll be happy to walk through what your specifications are that you require, and we will design and build something to fit your needs. When I say design, when I say one-off, everything Rotorcraft has done for the last 11 years has been one-off. We do have clients that reorder the same part, but everything we do is designed and built to our clients' needs. We want you to buy a piece of equipment that's going to serve you the best it possibly can. I don't want you to have to make your business fit a piece of equipment that we make. We want to make a piece of equipment that fits your business. Whatever your needs are, if it can be made, if it's available, and if it fits in this monster, we're going to make it happen. So as you can see, this is a very simple piece of equipment to operate. A little bit of training, reading the manual, and almost any of your employees will be able to use it. I know I've got a 13-year-old that can use it as good as I can, so they're very easy to learn how to use. The added safety, the evacuation system as an option, all of these just make this a really good solution for a lab, colleges, any enclosed building to where people are going to be occupying the same space as your charging solution. I think you'll enjoy this, and it's definitely going to work hard for you. Rotorcraft Pro Solutions, keeping you in charge.